Welcome to episode 87 of The Game Changers. I'm your host, Carla, and tonight I'm bringing the heat with none other than Jonathan Sieg. His knowledge and insights are sure to elevate our conversation as I dig into the game behind the game. A huge shout out to the incredible TSA team for backing this mission of amplifying voices and sparking ideas. This platform exists because of visionaries like them and listeners like you. Whether you're here for fantasy football gold or simply love stories that shift perspective, you're in the right place. The Game Changers is more than a podcast, it's a movement. Tonight, I celebrate 4 years with the man who saw me whole when I felt broken. Doug didn't just stay, he lifted me up. Through the silence after my divorce, through the walls I built, he stood. Not to complete me, but to remind me I was already complete. He's the one who checks on me when the world gets loud and cruel, who reminds me I'm good, I'm genuine, I'm enough. We don't just love, we rise together. Happy anniversary, honey. Let's talk about who is Jonathan Sieg. So today's guest is someone whose story doesn't just inspire, it excites. Born and raised in Queens, New York, Jonathan grew up in a world where loyalty ran deep and milestones were celebrated with the same crew who showed up for fantasy football drafts and family weddings alike. But Jonathan's past wasn't paved with ease. In 2006, the loss of his mother became a turning point, one that demanded resilience, maturity, and a crash course in life's toughest lessons. He stepped into leadership, managing his family's commercial property in North Carolina during the recession, gaining firsthand experience in business, marketing, and operations. In 2017, he moved to South Florida to care for his grandmother, a chapter marked by love, loss, and reflection. Then came a diagnosis of MS in early 2021, right in the heart of the pandemic. But Jonathan didn't retreat. He rebuilt himself through nutrition, therapy, and community support, proving that healing is as much mental as it is physical. When fantasy football season ended that winter, depression crept in, but Jonathan turned to Twitter, where the game never really ends. He found connection, conversation, and a new kind of camaraderie. By 2023, he wasn't just joining the dialogue, he was leading it, hosting spaces, interviewing top tier guests, and founding Fantasy Goats, a platform that blends analytics with authenticity. Jonathan is more than a fantasy football analyst. He's a builder of bridges, a voice of perseverance, and a reminder that purpose can be found in the most unexpected places. Today, I'm honored to welcome him on the Game Changers podcast. Hi, Jonathan. How are you tonight?
Hello, Carlo. Boys, what a fantastic, beautiful introduction. I got goosebumps. I mean, I can't believe how you put that entire thing together like that. And I'm really flattered. I'm flattered beyond belief. I'm very appreciative to be here. I'm also flattered for preceding the other awesome, fantastic guests that have been on your podcast, this stream, this show, all before me. So yeah, man, this is wonderful. I want to thank you so much. Where would you like to start from that whole entire thing? I feel we just opened the entire Pandora's box, completely open. I mean, where would you want to start at the top? That's where you'd like to start?
So I want to start with your personal journey. Queens, New York is a word into itself. What's the most Queens thing about you that even your closest fantasy comrades might not suspect?
The most Queens thing about me is my assimilation in Queens. I am one of just like so many different people from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds. They all may not be where I'm presently sitting, right? There are so
Yes.
many different neighborhoods, and there are so many different little communities within this borough. But I mean, if we were to take the amount of people, the amount of population, the humans that are in this specific borough, could be a large city in most, in the world. So I'm Queens because I represent just my small niche of human. That's the best way I can say it. Yeah, I'm born and
Nice.
raised here. I'm proud of it. But I'm also proud, as you alluded, I was proud to also leave this area and to discover, other parts of the country as well. I mean, Florida, and we'll get to Florida in a minute because as I wrote to you, yes, I did take care of my grandmother, but we were always going down to Florida to visit there. So
Yes.
I was no stranger to Florida, but I was fortunate and lucky that I have gotten to experience other cities and lived in other areas for sure. But yeah, no, I mean, look, the most Queens thing about me is I wouldn't want to live in another borough
Yeah.
of New York City. And for those who may not be that familiar, there's five boroughs, five sections that make up New York City. I'm one fifth of that. Queens is
Wow.
one fifth.
Queens is crazy. So, growing up with city noise as your lullaby, did you ever imagine you would transition from New York City hustle to managing commercial property in the calm, sometimes not so calm, of North Carolina?
No, no. At the time, if you would have asked me, would you ever move or would you ever live somewhere else, I would have said no. And even as close to leading up to the point where I did leave, I still would not have foreseen the chain of events that took place and how we had to, I guess, evolve. I use the word recalibrate. We had to like rethink how we were all going to act and behave. Once the passing of my mother did take place, but I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have thought. I knew of North Carolina. I knew of Charlotte, and I knew the capital. I didn't know of anything else. I didn't know the background. I just knew that we had our business. Part of our business was in that state for again for purposes of our family income. But other than that, I didn't put two and two together, so to speak. No, I didn't.
So I just wanna, can you show me your T-shirt, Jonathan? Because Pete is wearing the same T-shirt as you are.
Is he?
Oh my God, I love that. So Pete just said, funny story, I'm wearing the same T-shirt as your guest. So I just wanted to know what you're wearing. That's amazing. I love that.
I mean, I'm sure Pete will chat in right now. I mean, how
Yeah.
comfortable is this T-shirt? It's like, forget that the design is top notch.
Yes, it
Okay?
is.
And I know that JC may have had something to do with the design,
Yeah.
but it's comfortable material. It's a great T-shirt. Great T-shirt, and I'm glad that Pete got to experience the Scott Fishbowl live draft where we got these.
You did a live draft with Scott Fish in New York.
I did, and I'm pretty sure I left that part out, didn't I?
It's fine. We can talk about it. So I did in Boston. You should come to Boston at some point. You're not that far from me.
Would they allow me in Boston?
Oh, if they don't allow you, I will allow you.
That's the other part about Queens and New Yorkers. We do have that type of rivalry with Boston, although it's kind of cooled off. I believe it's not the same as it was when I was growing up. But I do want to. I've thought about perhaps looking into maybe going to another area, another city to do not necessarily for me to draft, but to visit and attend. Yeah, I mean it's a blast. It's an absolute blast. I love it.
I'll put you under my wing. You don't have to worry.
I have no doubt about it that I would have zero problems if as long as I'm with you.
I love that. So, what's a snapshot memory from your childhood in Queens that best explain the grit or humor you bring to fantasy football today?
A snapshot. Well, I don't know if I could share the type of snapshots that would carry over. I mean, look, the friends that I grew up with, who I'm still very close with, some of them are, I speak to constantly. Most of them are still in the home leagues I play in. We were all very competitive.
Yeah.
We competed in everything, whether it was little league, to school grades, even to having X amount of girlfriends, to this, to that, so on and so forth, to see who could stay up the latest, who could party the hard. We competed with everything. So like it's always been in my nature to compete, and I kind of have to remind myself that, look, at this stage in my life, it's a game and it's fun, and I still get some of that adrenaline. Make no mistake, I still love taking taking a knee down with the quarterback to end their game, knowing that there's no more plays and I won by a fraction of a point. So yeah, I still get that rush. But so in terms of that element, I think will never really leave me. Competitive, competing, wanting to be great, wanting to win. But I think it's just it's different going about it now
Yes.
in this stage in my life. For where I'm at now, it's not necessarily the same. Like, but again, I get to there's so many different examples and stories. Crazy amounts of money betting on touchdowns, crazy amounts of money betting on each other's matchups, crazy amounts of money betting on other sports. So
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think most of that is out of our systems, especially with the majority of my friends are now fathers themselves, which is a blessing, an absolute blessing. And I'm an uncle. I'm called uncle, and that's an absolute blessing. Not my own
Awesome.
yet, I pray, but yeah. So we again. I'm gonna go back to the word, Carla. We had to, especially myself, recalibrate our lives. Not completely change them, but just, you know, adjust. We had to readjust. We had to shift. We had to adapt.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. So, talking about adapting and everything, I have a tricky question for you. If you could time travel and drop teenage Jonathan at a modern fantasy football draft, what would surprise him most? The game, the tech, or you?
The Probably the tech. I want to say, right?
Why?
The tech. Let's go. I want to make sure I'm giving you the right answer. A. Which one
There's
was
no,
A?
there's your answer.
No. I want to make. I love the question. What's A? Which one's A?
So, game,
The game itself.
tech, or you?
I
Yeah, the
don't.
game itself.
I don't know if I've again. I want to say that I've adapted because, well, they all work hand in hand almost. Let's stick with tech. I think technology and the speed of information
Yeah.
has has adjusted, has changed the game. Not necessarily not the game as far as the players. Now that's changed in different ways, but I think tech. We still play on the same websites, but I think we ought to lump information into tech and how we receive information, how information is distributed, what information can be done now moving forward in terms of where we are moving for like Web3, Web4, AI, all that. So I would say tech, not so much me, although I've been playing 22, 23 years. I still love the wide receiver. Okay.
Yeah.
I still don't like the tight end. I'm a big fan of running backs. So I don't really think that I haven't really changed. No, as long let me put it to you this way: when I start losing more, I'll change the way I play the game. How about
I
that?
love it. I love that. I love that. So, there's a lot written about how losing a parent can reshape identity. How did your mother's passing affect your view of risk, ambition, and connection?
Well, I mean, growing up until her passing, I was kind of like spoiled. Not kind of, I was. I was spoiled rotten. I had everything handed to me. I didn't have anything to worry about. I didn't have to work. When I mean work, I mean like some of us had to like get like regular jobs, like stocking shelves or delivering food. I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. And I mean, I went to college, and that was all paid for, and none of that, And I didn't have a care in the world. So then my mother got sick, and that kind of gave us like we were already at that age. We were already starting to do our extracurricular activity, right?
Yeah.
With substances, and let's just call it what it is. We were doing drugs, we were drinking, we were smoking, we were doing all of it, everything. We went going to clubs. When she passed away, and it was very fast too, by the way. It was very quick. When she went to the hospital, she didn't come out of the hospital, and that was like a good 5 week time frame. When she passed, it kind of gave like for some weird reason, and my sister too. It gave us more of a free pass to even party even harder, because now we didn't want to deal with the actual
The
reality of
loss.
the situation, the loss. Yeah, that hurt. I'll put it to you this way: like we did our grieving in the hospital when we knew it was over, and then like so like at the actual time of the funeral, like that was we were like numb at that point. We were numb, and then we stayed numb for like a good year, right?
It's hard. Yeah.
It was well. I'll tell you what's kind of again readjusting. Now I had to take my sister's lead on this too, because like she's the one who took the lead. She's like, yo, listen, we have to, just knowing our father, she had to now start to pay more attention to things, the
Yeah.
light things, the actual money going out, money coming in, making sure that the lights were on, making sure that food came in, all like this basic stuff. She just started to take over, and then she started to get in more into what my mother was doing with the business again, which is a lot of like accounting type stuff, finances and stuff.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was like, you know what? I'm probably going to kill myself, and I don't mean like that. I mean like how I was partying. So it seemed like a good idea for me to try to get my act together.
Yeah.
And I thought that, you know what? Let me try to do this. Let me try. Give me a shot. If it's no good, it's going to fail anyway, because the company was that the business down there was failing based on the time of, it was like a 2008, like the heart of the recession of that time period. So it was like, give me an opportunity to go down there and manage this. And I got lucky. I would say I got lucky, because we were able to get out of it. I had resources, human resources actually. And yeah, I had, yeah, that kind of shaped me and us to really to the people that we are today.
Yeah. It's hard
It
losing someone
it
that close to you, especially a mom.
it
So I'm
it
so
it
sorry for
it,
your loss.
it was hard. I felt that it was more harder for my sister. Or now looking back, it was
Yeah.
probably more difficult for her. Even thinking back, even as recent as a few years ago when she got married, my
Yeah.
mother wasn't there. Like, so I kind of feel like that it made some of that stuff would hit her more than it used to hit me. Like, birthdays, anniversaries, her, like just that type of stuff. So, but again, we're sitting here, both of us, again, with wonderful support, wonderful friends. Um,
100%.
and then yeah, I mean, like, look, it's been since 2006. It's almost like 20 years, which is kind of crazy, because now I'm closer. I've actually gotten my age is closer to her passing age, my mother's passing age. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really tough story to share. Thank you for sharing that. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it, Jonathan.
I
So,
appreciate you allowing me to share it.
of
And
course, oh my God, that's
what
that's your place, that's your space.
what I think is also important too is, if anyone that's listening to this has a similar story, I would encourage you not to wait for an opportunity for a podcast.
Yeah,
I would encourage you to talk it out, to go speak with anyone that you confide in or trust in. I didn't, that I didn't really go to therapy. I tried it once. I didn't like it. I didn't go back. I don't know. Like, and people would like say, like, "What are you, an idiot? Like, you should be going to therapy." I'm like, I don't need it. I'm all right. I have
not
my friends.
everybody can do therapy.
I have my friends. I have
Yes,
football. What else do I need? I have the Knicks. I didn't need it. I have a girlfriend. All of this stuff was filling voids, right? They
yes, I
were
agree 100%.
always filling a void, always.
Yeah. Yeah, you surround yourself with positive people, and that's really important. And I love that for you. I love that you surrounded yourself with a lot of positivity. From talking about your bio at the beginning, I see as a lot of resilience, and you have a story, and we spoke on the side. You have a story that worth sharing, because a lot of people are going through so much behind closed doors, and they don't speak up about it. And you talking about it, it's really important, and it might help a lot of people around in the industry. So thank you, I appreciate
But
it.
before we go to our next question, I want to clarify something. I said the Knicks most definitely by accident, Sniper. At the time,
Is laughing.
at the time, no, truthfully, I like it's the Knicks because they actually like they did so well this past season. That's
Yes.
why I kind of said the Knicks. It was always the Yankees or football.
Yeah.
The Knicks have been so bad for so long. I should have said the Yankees, but let's continue. Let's continue. I can always count.
I love that.
I can always count on my dough to make
Yeah,
sure that we're staying on our toes.
definitely.
I know you are.
So,
I know.
North Carolina during the recession, were you more landlord, therapist, or reluctant actor in a Southern tragicomedy?
Huh.
Who were
Tra-
you
it almost was like a Greek tragedy. Um, I, I thank my blessings. I count my
there?
blessings that I had the opportunity to live down there. And I got to travel throughout North Carolina.
Nice.
I got to meet with different people. I visited factories which were dying, and pretty sure that they're extinct now. They were going out of business, or they were moving their production off overseas. I count my blessings. I really do, because again, it gave me a real sense. It taught me business. It really did. With the help of some other outside factors, I learned business. I learned marketing. It wasn't just learning the real estate and geography and all that. That's like a byproduct of having a well-rounded, you know, idea of what the hell's going on. And it's the stuff that they didn't necessarily teach you in school. Right?
Agree.
I excelled. I loved sociology, and I loved theology, believe it or not. But when it came to like marketing, I didn't pay attention. It was like I'm pretty sure I paid for my grades. It was so I you had to learn all that. I learned all that, and so I'm thankful for that. There was a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
There was a lot of downtime, but I did travel. I did travel. I came back up here for holidays. I would go down to visit my grandmother down there. We have property down there as well. So I mean, but that's not why I was going down there. My grandmother's property, her home, and look, North Carolina will always have a special place in my heart because it's a beautiful state. Where I lived was beautiful. You had a little tiny bit of city life, different,
Yeah.
but a tiny bit of city life, and then a lot of different low key, quiet country life as well. And I digged it. I dig the food, the barbecue. I wasn't, again, landlord. I don't even know if I know that's the correct term, but I was
Yeah.
more. We were partners. We were partners. I had to make sure I had to make sure that this man's business was alive. Again, for us, so he could pay us. You know what I mean? So,
Definitely. Yeah.
and it was, not to, we could spend a lot of time on this, but it took convincing for him to reduce his entire line once, and he didn't need all the space that he was displaying his product. So once we were able to persuade him to just don't show this entire line, show everything that is considered a bestseller.
Yeah.
Now we have the space for another tenant, and that's how it all came about. And in case anyone's wondering about this, by the way, in North Carolina used to be a huge hub for the furniture, consumer home goods industry. So this is the industry that I'm talking about. Huge market down there, much like an exhibition, like an expo. Only a lot of, we're talking about furniture, we're talking about dressers and beds, and we're talking about this and that, everything that you could think of in home goods, everything that you could think of that Wayfair is selling you now.
That's
So
crazy.
so that's the other thing. It wasn't just a recession that everyone had to navigate. Everyone had to navigate e-commerce, which is
Yes.
which is full throttle. You had to navigate that, and you had to navigate the companies that are importing for a lot less. Well, now, as we see on TV, our president trying to change some of that, but that's not going to happen. Let's move on.
Let's move on. So let's talk a little bit about fantasy football. So you were talking about the expo, and I don't believe I ever saw you at the expo. Are you planning on going to the expo at some point in Ohio?
I want to say yes, but because of the fact that I almost made it there last year, almost,
Almost.
I was on the plane. The plane was on the runway. The plane never took off.
What?
The flight was canceled. Yeah, after waiting hours on the tarmac, the flight had to go back to the gate, and my next opportunity to get out of.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, it was a terrible experience. Terrible experience.
I can't
LaGuardia,
believe this happened.
you're familiar with LaGuardia Airport?
Yes, I
Yeah,
am.
so Delta was actually blaming LaGuardia for not allowing them to take off, but yet in the middle of this entire delay, the pilot came on and said that we had to back up because the tower was allowing another plane to take off.
Crazy.
So that's why so you have conflicting stories. Again, I almost made it. I built myself up to go to the expo, and I'm sure this will segue into another topic. It's not that easy for me to get around these days.
Yeah.
I had to double up on my efforts, and I made all the psychological, mental, okay, exercising, and
Yeah.
it never happened. So fast forward to this previous expo, I didn't even give it a go. I just, because I'm very busy with what we're doing now, so I was just like, you know what? It seems like the expo is everyone's having a fantastic time. B, doesn't seem like it's going away yet, or going away. Period. So
Next year.
There'll be another one. That's
Next year. I'll wait for you, Jonathan. Next year. I'm going to see you there for sure. Now that I have a face behind the shepherd, I need to know. Nobody knows who the shepherd is. Now we know.
Well, people know who the shepherd is if they tune into the Fantasy Goats YouTube.
I love that.
Shameless plug. Yeah, and LaGuardia is a huge airport. They redid the airport, Sniper, so it's even bigger in terms of the concourses, and it's also on the water. So there are winds that take place there in the environment. Same thing for JFK, but that shouldn't have been the reason why the flight was canceled. There was something else, but nevertheless,
crazy. That's
There'll be
crazy.
another time. But again, I was about to go last year. This year it was like it wasn't really on the table.
It's okay. Next year for sure, hopefully. So, rumor has it
Uh-oh.
your earliest fantasy league involved trading baseball cards in Queens. Fact or fiction? And did you already have the analyst edge even then?
This is fiction. I want to say this is fiction, right? Not fact.
I don't know. You tell us.
I don't know. I don't know where you got that information from. But I mean, unless this is all part of the plan to set me up with something else that we traded. No. Well, let me think about this for a second because, like, see, anyone that you may have came into contact with, I don't think they would have given you the correct information. No, what wound up happening our first year in 2002, we probably drew the name straight out of a hat or something along those lines.
Okay.
No, no, it didn't involve any baseball cards that I remember. I'm pretty sure we drew the names out of a hat. We had just gotten onto Yahoo. Keep this in mind. If it was 2002 was our first year playing. This is just when the internet was blowing up. So we didn't necessarily have to keep score, keep track like the people that played before us. We got onto Yahoo as Yahoo,
Yeah.
blew up with ESPN fantasy that blew up, like CBS blew up. So we got onto Yahoo and we just let it ride. We didn't know much. We knew scoring. We knew that this meant this, but we didn't know that we could do like PPR or we didn't know anything like that. We knew like okay, we knew the quarterback was going to throw for X amount of yards, but we didn't, okay, so do you want to give a point for this amount of yards? Like so that came about probably the second year, the third year, so on and so forth.
Nice. You've managed fantasy leagues through economic slumps, personal loss, and health struggles.
Yep.
What's the most important lesson fantasy football teaches about real life?
Huh. What does fantasy football teach you about real life? What does it teach me about real life? Well, I mean, it's managing people. If you're a commissioner, you're managing a league.
Yeah.
You're managing expectations for the league. Fantasy football, again, I'd like to think of us as a different breed. When we were 23 years old, 24 years old, we were maniacs. We were animals. We threatened family members like crazy, silly, bad stuff. What does it teach you? I mean, it teaches you organization. It teaches you that this is just a game.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done, this is fun. When this is all said and done, can you learn something from it? You learn football, you can. I would say yes. You could definitely learn the game of like the real game for sure.
Nice.
I'm not sure if that was an adequate answer.
No, it is. It's your answer. So,
That
fantasy
was
goals.
that was a tricky question though. That was
It
tricky.
is. You will see a lot of tricky questions at some point.
Oh, great.
So, Fantasy Goats was born out of your vision. Did you have a sleeper pick moment in its founding where everyone else missed the upside?
Last season?
So, Fantasy Goats.
The goats, yes.
Yeah. It was born out of your vision.
It was born out of my vision that happened, through interacting with people
Okay.
on Twitter, on X. That's how the fantasy goats came about. A vision to provide the same type of advice, to provide
Yeah.
information that I was giving, in audio only or in text only. Now doing it just like we're doing it right here. So that's how
Nice.
the fantasy goats just.
Start.
Yeah, that's how it started. The name wasn't always the same name. It was that wasn't the original name, but I liked the idea. I loved the idea of, making someone feel good about themselves. I like that idea. I like
I
that.
love
I like the fact that we don't just call Tom Brady the GOAT. I
Yes.
I call Pete the GOAT, or I call Sniper Mel the doe, the female goat. I give you the GOAT sign, right? Don't I give you?
Yes.
I like. Does that make you feel good? Do
Always.
you like that? That's where it comes from. That's it right there. I
I
mean,
love that.
and it's as simple as that. And then the logo was done for me like just out of like nowhere. It was like
Love it. I love the logo.
the dude, big shout out, big credit to Solo 7, Godson. He just like
That's awesome.
he just sent this to me one day before Fantasy Goats even comes about. And I said, I love this. I loved it. He was doing this stuff with AI before AI. No,
Nice.
that's a big joke. Again, so yeah, that's how it came about again from when I started to get onto X and I started to meet these people and I started to interact and I discovered this whole world that like existed after the football season. Football was still being talked about.
Right?
We were still going over football. It was amazing to me. I loved it. And then with that came it opened up a whole new world. It really did. It's gotten me to where I'm sitting right now.
I love that. I love that, like this platform changed your life and you're able to talk about it. What's the single most satisfying I told you so prediction you've made? And did you gloat, savor, or keep it cool?
I try not to gloat. I try to keep it cool. None of those things really work. It's difficult to some extent. I have to gloat. Um, in 2023,
Yeah.
I was making a prediction for a certain wide receiver. His name is Jamar Chase. I was
Yes.
I was a year short. I was a year early from his explosion last year. Um, yeah. Other than that, there's so many little ones here and there and here. I mean, you could consider. I don't know. Sniper probably has more notes on it than I do in terms of like where I hit, where I missed. But did I think that the Chiefs were going to lose that Super Bowl? I probably didn't think that the Chiefs were going to lose that Super Bowl, but they
I
did.
did.
But they did.
Yeah.
Um, I've been pretty. Again, I'm pretty consistent in terms of like how the industry keeps records of like hits and misses, and like I think like I'm pretty sure that like the average rate would be around 70%. I would say I can't be less than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not less than that. Yeah, 70%. I would think. Again, without having indefinite records of it. Jamar Chase though comes to mind. I was pretty. I'll give you one this season right now. There's a guy on the Broncos. His name is Courtland Sutton. He is not going to have the same season as he did last year
Why is that?
because he's peaked. He's pretty much has played his best football, and it won't get to the same point. As simple as that.
Really?
And there are other talented wide receivers on his team too. So factoring running backs, and factoring that he played his best football, I wouldn't be very surprised, very, very surprised if he did it again 2 years in a row.
What if you gave this advice to someone and the player proved you wrong? What you are going to say at the end of the season if it happened?
I was wrong.
Would you say that?
Yeah,
That's awesome. I love it.
I was wrong. My bad. You didn't like? Did you lose? No, I didn't lose. Well, then what are you complaining for? Why are you coming to me?
I love it.
If a player that I recommend doesn't do well, I'll tell you something, Carla. From what I've learned, presenting information, presenting advice, giving my opinion
Yes.
on fantasy. Maybe 1%, less than 1% will come back and tell you you were wrong. I listened to you. I shouldn't have. You rarely get really get,
Fantasy football.
you don't really get that at all. Very very few, very so few times I think I may have gotten that. Oh, there's your boyfriend, husband.
You That's him. That's Doug Orff. He's in the building. He didn't hear anything from the beginning, but yeah,
Congratulations. No, Shabu, what a wonderful intro and tribute to your anniversary. I want to wish you and Carla a happy 4 years of being together. What a wonderful woman. I'm sure you're a wonderful man as well.
I appreciate that. He is. He is. I'm lucky. So, um, let me ask you that.
Yeah.
If a new fantasy player asks for your cheat code for one season success, what's the advice you would give that almost no one else does?
It's That's a loaded question because like the Chico, again, it goes back to our conversation with information. How much information is available to us, right? So like the cheat codes, we all know them. We all have the cheat code.
Yeah.
We have the Russian quarterback, or we have that high drafted capital tight end now in Brock Bowers, and I believe Tyler Warren is also an excellent candidate to do exactly what that tight end did last season. We have these cheat codes because we have all the information at our fingertips, and even if and some of it does cost you also. So there's a whole treasure chest of free information, and then there's like some other sites that you do have to pay for like really premium stuff, but it's all available to you, and it's available. Then of course you got the people that are on X that love to pat themselves on the back by showing us what they know, what they have uncovered, so on and so forth. So the cheat codes, you want to we want players that are on good offenses. That's what we want. It's a tried and true cheat code for years that I'm aware of fantasy. We want good players, talented players on good offenses. Some of us like to be gluttons of punishment and go for really talented players on bad offenses. I'm guilty of this because I'm a Jet fan. So yes,
Yes.
I believe in talent will trump the bad situation, but when it's all said and done, we want Rams offense. We want Chiefs offense. That cheat code will never go away.
Nice. I love that. Did you ever get ghosted after doling out last minute start sit advice, only to find out your follower won his league or her league without saying thank you?
Yes, yes,
Really? Care
yes,
to share?
yes, and no. Yes, yes, yeah. More no, but yes. I mean, if I had to think about it, like the person that won their league based on our advice, and we haven't heard from them again. Yeah, I would say so, sure. I'd be hard pressed to tell you who that is now either, right? Because like
Yes.
I mean they're ghosted. I would say yes, it's happened, but no, most of the time, just like that very small percentage of people that are mad when you give them bad advice, very small percentage don't thank you, don't say, yeah, I won, great stuff. Um,
Yeah.
you even get some that I've come across over this past year. So like even last December, hey, I came in second, or
Wow.
I made the semifinals. Thank you. Some
Nice.
people, there's some nice people out there. Still, there are still some nice people out there that appreciate your work. Yeah, there are.
Of course. Of course.
Absolutely.
I agree with you 100%. What's the weirdest prop or superstition you have adopted for luck during a fantasy season? True confessions only.
My superstitions. Week one. So before like the main kickoff, not the Thursday night game, not the new Friday night, but just week one for like the last 10, 15 years, I'll blast a song from the Muse. You know the
What?
Muse? Yes. It's like my hype get pumped up song before
Really?
like 5 minutes before kickoff. Yeah, that's what I do for good luck.
I love that. That's nice. I love that.
Yeah. Other than that, after that, I mean, no, no. We used to do some like, I mean, when we were younger, they used to again, we used to do some loony stuff. We would be praying like for real praying.
Yes.
We used to do some loony stuff. We were young. We had all the access. Most of us, including myself, very privileged, very spoiled. We didn't have to worry. We did some crazy stuff. Crazy stuff.
I love that though. But this is the age, I mean.
I'll still blast the Muse, Knights of Sidonia. That Sunday, 5-1. Get my guys going. The soldiers. That's the theme of most of my teams.
I
The
love it.
and we're ready to roll. Yeah.
I love that. So, looking ahead, what do you think will be the most disruptive change in fantasy football during the next, let's say, 5 years?
I mean, it's already disrupting, but I think it's just a matter of how the industry, how we consume the disruption, which would be artificial intelligence. I mean, I can't really foresee anything else that would be disrupting the industry. Again, as long as they're still playing the game out there, they can add whatever technology the NFL wants, like, without no more chains to measure first down. Like that will all be done with like, you know, laser Hawkeye technology. As long as the game still remains, then we're still going to be playing the game in the same manner. Now it's a matter, okay, so what could really disrupt it? More technology, greater technology, and how that gets consumed. What part does AI really like get a hold of? But again, it's not that AI is getting a hold of. It's what we are taking from it. What are we going to grab from it and utilize within the game?
Yeah.
I don't really see. I don't really see anything else really happening otherwise. And I don't really, and I don't, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's a bad thing either. I mean, I don't really think it could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because
I like
again,
that.
we're talking about fantasy football.
We are.
Yeah, I won't be one that would rely on AI as a player. No, but
Oh, it's crazy.
as someone like as a content creator, now that's a different story, right? That's a
Yeah,
much
but
different story.
still, even in content creation, like AI can be weird. People are trying to rely on it, but they seem robotic more than being themselves in a way or another, if it makes sense. So AI is a hit or miss for me, honestly.
Yeah, no, and I think it is a hit or miss for most also,
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, we have a basic idea of what it does or what the application is, but then again, it's now just attempting to get your mind wrapped around it and how it's going to be used or how it's not going to be used and so on and so forth. So yeah, I would say it is a 50-50 type deal for
yeah,
sure,
I agree.
for sure.
So let's talk about community building a little bit and talk about the funniest, more bunkers, or most unexpectedly wholesome thread or hashtag that has ever united your followers.
Hashtag or thread. Let's see. Hashtag or thread. I don't know about that. To ignite my followers. Um, there was a post that I made one time, and it was regarding a player. His name was Dalvin Cook, and just as a complete joke parody, once he lost the football game, he was gonna. I was making a joke that he was now on his way to another team, another city, and that just like blew up. I don't know if it's a hashtag. There's no hashtags other than fantasy football or pound NFL. Pound fantasy goats is a hashtag that we started to use now, but I mean that's a much different ball game. A thread. I don't know about threads, Carla. I mean, I read some of them, but I don't really produce them. I don't really write them.
Okay, let's say if you can recall a specific Ask the Goat, hashtag Ask the Goat interaction that shifted your perspective on what people want from a fantasy community. Did you ever did that?
No.
You never like put a hashtag Ask the Goat?
No.
You're all about shepherd and goats and stuff like that.
I know.
You never did that, Jonathan?
But you're just giving me you're giving me a great idea.
Yes.
You absolutely are. Ask the goat.
Yeah.
Without question. No. I honestly have not thought of. I ask people sometimes if they like player A over player B, or I'll ask sometimes, do you have a most pressing question for this week? Sometimes, but I've never really framed it pound ask a goat. I've never done that. I like it.
This is gonna be yours from now on.
I
Hashtag
like
from Carla. Ask the goat. Ask the goat.
I love it.
I love that.
I love it too. Ask
so
the
I'm
goat.
giving it to you. Ask the goat.
But see, what about Pound Shepherd? Because technically they are the goat. I'm the shepherd. So wouldn't it
Ask
be like
the shepherd.
Pound Ask Shepherd? Goats. Send Pound Shepherd your most pressing questions for week 1.
You can use both. So, owning the goats label means inviting debate. What's the wildest or most clever goat-related response from your online audience, other than mine?
Oh man, there's so many of those that I could. We are constantly debating players. Constantly, we're debating whether they're going to do well. We're debating whether they are going to flop or not do well. We were having this conversation with a player with a user last night. He was trying to convince us of one player who's going to be a rock star this season, and not one of us that were on this side of the screen agreed with him, but like we didn't want to, or I didn't want to just tell him flat out, what the hell are you talking about? We're not going to do that. Technically, it's a customer, right? A user, customer. So I mean, we're always having these types of debates. Sometimes we won't see eye to eye with everybody, and we're not supposed to either. We're not supposed to. You're supposed to take our opinion, you take their opinion. How many other analysts, creators, commentators you want to really take their opinions and then form your own, and then boom, that's the end of it.
True, 100%.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. So tell me, what's the biggest misconception about running a fantasy football community that listeners would never guess until they try it?
The work behind the scenes. Yeah, I mean, those that are in the community, they're the ones that are, they're clicking enter. They are reading, a post. They are joining a space. They are listening to a podcast. They don't really. I don't think they take into account the amount of work that goes into what we try to do, or what we are doing, in terms of we're trying to just present the best information to you.
True.
And we're trying to present the best opinion to you. And there's so many goats like us, right?
Yeah.
There's and how do we differentiate? Well, I mean, we differentiate a few different ways. We provide entertainment, but we also do this. We also do that, and a lot of it behind the scenes work takes
Yeah.
that even work. Let's say you're studying. Let's say you're watching film, right? I mean that's just hours that you're dedicated to doing the craft. That's I think that's a misconception or possibly taken for granted.
I agree.
I don't necessarily I don't fault anybody for that. It's just that's not necessarily supposed to be top of mind for a user, for a fan, for a consumer. And I'm that way too. I don't watch fantasy pros or I don't watch fantasy football today and say, damn man, they're doing so much work for me. I do because I can appreciate it because I do what they do. I so yes me, but
Yes.
9 times out of 10, I don't think most are like damn that's a lot of work.
All fun and games behind the scenes. Yes, yes, Sniper Mel.
Well,
So I like I said, there's a lot of work behind the scene because you have a full-time job sometimes and you're preparing for a podcast. I did ask you for a bio ahead of time. I did ask you what you want to talk, what you're gonna tell ahead of time. And then for me, I
exactly.
do prepare 100 question plus because you never know how everything is gonna go. I might go through 100 question, I might go through two. You never know. So I over prepare, which is crazy, and I'm sure everybody does that too. I'm sure
Well,
you do that.
you know, the ones that are passionate, the ones that take it seriously, the ones that are diligent in their efforts and their
Yeah.
work habits are going to put in the extra mile because it's not really extra. It's not extra to me. It's not extra to you. Some people it is, and you're able to read that out, or at least I am. I can tell. But that would be. I can't think of another misconception. Can you? Is there something else that the fantasy community doesn't really realize or takes for granted? I don't think so.
Yeah, I know. So let me ask you about, especially that we're talking about, the community and everything online. What's a connection or friendship from your community that spilled offline and made a real life impact?
Relationship that was built online.
Yeah, a friendship maybe or more.
Well, okay, so let's rephrase the question. Name somebody or anyone where a
A
relationship.
connection or friendship from your community that started online and it made a real life impact on you.
Oh, that would probably be my partner, Ron,
Yeah.
Commissioner Rhino. Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, he fits the criteria right now for sure. So yes, I've known him one of the longest members, being online. Um, had some great conversations with him in the past. Someone that I could rely on to speak about any matter moving forward, and same for him to me. Um, he shares the same vision as I do. We're very much the same in terms of how we want to present a brand, which is now Fantasy Goats. It would be wrong, but there's so many people. Okay, so like Ron, right?
Yes.
It started out by interacting. It started out by talking football, but he was also like 2 years ago. He was going through some life troubles, not troubles, but yes, like some turbulent issues, and he was not as accessible to start. But once he started to come around more often, and he showed up on spaces with me, and we talked, and it developed into this relationship that we have now. So yeah, that Ron be one person for sure, but there's so many others as well. There's so many other people that I've known that app since like day one, practically, that I've interacted with, and who I chat with, who I would consider my friends. Yeah, Sniper is one of them for sure.
Yes.
Um, there's oh man, I mean, like there's so many people, and it seems as though that I've been on this freaking thing for like ages, and that's not the case. I've only been on I've been on there since like late 2022, early 2023.
Really?
That's it.
That's
And
crazy.
that's it. Well, I mean, it may say 2021 on there, but I wasn't active then.
Okay, let me ask you then. What's your like magic? Why you have so many followers? If you just started, that's crazy, Jonathan. People love you. I know that.
No,
That's amazing.
I don't think that's it. To be honest with you,
No?
no. I mean, there's some people that like me. I'll be honest with you. When it came to this, it started slow. Um, then it just caught fire. It caught fire by like a few hundred. So like very early 2023, all of a sudden I just got a whole influx of people that were following me. I didn't do anything. They were just following me. So what did I do? What would be the natural reaction to that? What's the natural action after that? You follow back.
Yeah.
And it became such a
More
addicting
respectful.
it became such an addicting habit. Like now I'm addicted to an app. So now I'm following people all over the place and they're following me back. So that's pretty much how I built the following. I
I love that.
I actually stopped doing like following people a while ago because I honestly went about it wrong. I wish I would have went about it differently. I was kind of steered in the wrong direction. I really was, and I have nobody to blame but myself. Yeah. So if you asked me one of those questions, if I could go back in terms of like part of fantasy, if I could go back 2 years, what would I change about Twitter X? I would definitely change the way the account is.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I absolutely would. That's
I
that.
love that.
Yeah, no, again, it looks nice. It looks nice. It to some people it illustrates maybe credibility. You're
Yeah.
verified. You're reputable. But there's a lot of junk in there too. Trust me. There's a lot of junk. I don't want anybody that is like that is not completely totally obsessed with football, and that's just there's no way to weed that out. Well, there is, but I'm not even gonna bother.
I love that you're honest and you're telling everything about the real you, which is what I really appreciate on this podcast tonight. It's almost an hour, but I do have a couple of questions to ask you still. What's one question you wish people would ask you about your journey, but almost never do? How's your chance to answer it?
What is one thing that I wish people asked me?
And how would you answer it?
Uh, well, I mean, if you would have, I don't have that time. You're putting me on the spot.
I'm sorry. Not.
I gotta come up with like a generic like response. What is one thing that I would want them to ask me?
About your journey, especially your journey, because you went through a lot in life. So, what one question you want them to ask you? Do you like?
What
Do you want them to ask you if you're okay, or how did you manage maybe to go through life without
okay,
any help?
that's okay. That's better. Well, first to answer the last part, I mean, I had help. we it may not have seemed like help at the time, but if you got to reflect back, I had a lot of help. What would I want somebody to ask, or what is the best advice I would give to someone that has been on my journey? Well, must stay strong. That's first and foremost. Um, I would never recommend to anybody to follow the same path as I went on. because it could have been very destructive. And I'm if it wasn't for my sister, or if I didn't have the support, it could have gone bad, right? It could have been just like lethal bad. Um, so I would never advise. I would advise, again, especially nowadays with so many vehicles and so many support mechanisms. You're
Yeah.
never alone. You don't ever have to be alone. There are tragedies. That um, you're not unique. That may come across as kind of shitty, but you're going through, perhaps what I gone through may not be the same, but you could take bits and pieces from it,
Yes.
and then like kind of like relate to it. And I mean that's it. Like how did you do it? How did you do it, Shepard? How did you do it, Jonathan? Well, I mean, this is how I did it. I did it with a fantastic support staff, and
I love that.
with actual fantastic physical support staff, and I'm even more blessed because I have it online as well.
I love
So
that.
I mean, like it's really twofold. It's twofold. If I could figure out a trifold, I would figure out a trifold. Why not?
Yeah. I
Uh,
love that answer.
I think. Look, yes, my sister Snipers. My sister's great. She's
Yes.
glad. She's glad. Look at how Sniper is talking about my sister. Do you see that connection?
Yeah.
That's like a triangle right there. So look at just just that very basis right there. She knows of my sister. My sister knows of Sniper Mel. And what's the commonality? Me. And then
Definitely.
and fantasy, obviously. Now,
Yeah.
Sniper Mel would probably smoke my sister head to head because she doesn't pay the same amount of attention as Sniper Mel does. But you get the idea. I think everybody gets the idea.
Yes.
And then last question, right? Last question.
Not last question, but yeah. How do you hope listeners will feel at the end of this podcast tonight?
Encouraged.
I love it.
Encouraged. Just not every not I can't really see anybody at all that goes through life on cloud nine, 24/7, 365. I don't. That's impossible. So I can't conceive of that. At some point, there's always going to be bumps and hills and so on and so forth. And just know, whether it's physical ailment, whether there's something that's bothering you emotionally or mentally, it doesn't have to stick. It doesn't have to at all. Um, and there's always a better day. There's a better hour, actually. Um, and again, I'll go right back to it. There's so much support out there nowadays. I mean, the only thing that we knew of back then, and people, again, just like therapy, they were trying to get me to speak to somebody after, because I wasn't grieving right. Well, then, my father, God bless him, is 79. He's like, you're not going anywhere until you go into NA and AA. Well, what was that going to do? Well, but yet, that was the only thing that you knew of then, right?
Yeah.
What is that? Number one, thankfully, I'm not. I didn't need that. I'm not that. B, I just need to stop and go away. And believe me, that'll be my AA. It worked. It
Yeah.
worked.
I
And
love that.
I didn't. Don't. And I'm not a saint either. By the way, I'm not a saint. But
Nobody is.
I'm not,
Nobody is.
No, I'm not. So it's not like. But it was bad for a while. Trust me, it was bad.
I can't tell you how happy I am that you shared your story with us today. I'm so honored. I'm so happy to get to know the real you, Jonathan. I do have one question I do ask my guests every single time. So I know you are an open book, but my question is always about a secret or something that you never spoke of ever before and you want to share tonight on the show. So, what's a secret maybe that you did at an early age, or something that you never spoke of that you would like to say today on the Game Changers?
Why don't we let's do you have like another question?
That's my only question for the night that I do ask every single guest.
A secret. No, I mean, nah, it's not.
Oh,
It,
come on, Jonathan.
it's not PG at all.
It's fine.
The one thing that's coming to my mind, it's not PG at all. Yeah, no, I mean, well, nothing,
It's
nothing.
your secret to share.
It's my secret to share. I mean, that's what's kind of crazy. It's my secret. But the thing is, you alluded to it. You said I'm kind of like an open book. I kind of am like an open book, especially
Yes.
when I feel comfortable enough. So like, it's not really a secret if I tell you about some of the stuff like that like maybe half the people that know me don't know already. It's a
Yeah.
let's let you sure you don't have another question?
No.
Oh,
That's my only question I ask every single person at the end of my show. So
no.
Sniper Mel always wait for it too, and she's telling you, "Come on, Jonathan." She wants to know the some of the like secret stuff that you never tell anybody about.
Sniper Mel knows that I would just tell her
Oh,
directly.
you should tell me too.
Maybe I'll tell you one on one for sure.
Ooh, intrigued, intrigued.
It's not very PG. It's not like I'm again. I'm not wired like
I respect
most. I'm not wired like most.
that. I do respect that. But Jonathan, before we wrap up, let our listeners know how they can connect with you online and stay updated with your work. So, you want to shout out for your podcast or anything to let our listeners know about you?
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Carla.
Of
And
course.
again, I'm so like flattered that you invited me on.
Honored.
Very so appreciative for this opportunity to talk about a lot of the open book stuff.
Yes.
I got to share with you and your audience about my past, my trials, my tribulations, and where I've came from and where I am now. Where I am now is the Fantasy Goats
I
on
love it.
YouTube. Fantasy Goats YouTube. If you want to follow me, if you aren't already following me on X, by all means, follow me on X. I'll actually follow you back. I will. I promise. I'll follow you back within the next hour or two. But no, 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 no. Seriously, seriously. If anybody ever wants to get a hold of me for anything other than fantasy, I'm always available. I'm available on Sleeper. Let's have to get that. Like that app. There's a whole other world of chats on that app. Sleeper X, YouTube, Fantasy Goats, YouTube. We're running daily.
I love that. I love
Dog, there's the dog.
Everyone is loving you. Everyone is talking about you in the chat. They're poking Doug a lot. So it's my job to do that, you guys. Leave him alone. You go ahead. I'm fine with that. I love it.
I know the dog. I know the fantasy dog. That's my dog right there. And Sniper, I think Sniper knows how much I
Do
care about
not forget
appreciate Sniper.
hashtag ask the goat or ask the shepherd. You have to tag me with that. I would love that.
You're like the architect.
No.
You're the architect. Of course, you're going to be tagged. You're going to be hashtagged. All of it. All of it.
I love it. I really love this conversation a lot. Jonathan, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you all for joining me for this episode of the Game Changers. I hope today's conversation gave you a fresh perspective, not just on fantasy football, but on the game of life. Mark your calendar. Next week, I have Jody Smith. He's joining me on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You don't want to miss that.
Look,
So,
it's already coming
Jody,
out. It's already coming
yes,
out. There it
yes,
is.
he is. He's coming next week. Big thank you to JC for his behind the scene magic and to the powerhouse team of TSA for making this platform possible for me. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on social media. Stay connected and be part of the Sports Affiliation, a community where every fan, thinker, and change maker belongs. Until next time, keep challenging the game and making your mark. This is Carla and Jonathan signing off. I wish you all a pleasant evening. Good night.